Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. Now, this first dinner was not on the meal plan, but I was watching Kristen Stepp's What's for Dinner video, and she made this, and it just looked so good, and I had everything on hand for it, so I decided to make it. Let me show you how to do this. This was really yummy. I've got the oven preheating to 350 degrees. I've already boiled up my spaghetti and drained that. In the same pot, I'm going to add in a can of undrained Rotel, cream of chicken soup, evaporated milk, cream cheese. I'm going to give that a stir and heat this on low until the cheeses are melted. Now, I'll of course have Kristen's channel linked in my description box below, as well as this recipe. And a quick note, I did have the recipe. So once that is melted, I'm then going to add my ranch dressing mix, some chicken. I'm using leftover rotisserie chicken, but you could use, whatever you prefer. And then I'm going to add in the cooked spaghetti, stir that until it's combined really well, and then I'm going to place that into a greased baking dish. Next, I'm going to sprinkle over some shredded cheddar cheese. This is going to go into the preheated oven and bake for about 30 minutes. Once it's done, you'll want to let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes before you serve it up. Here are the plates. So we have some of the chicken spaghetti, and I just made some side salads. This was really good. To be honest with you, my husband asked what we were having for dinner, and I just kind of jokingly said food and didn't tell him we were having chicken spaghetti because I've made a couple different chicken spaghetti recipes before, and he's not been a huge fan of it. I mean, he's eaten them, but he's not loved it, but he really liked this recipe, and I thought it was really good too. And of the chicken spaghetti recipes that I made, it was one of the easier ones. So if you like chicken spaghetti or like turkey tetrazzini, that kind of thing, I would recommend you give this recipe a try. For dinner the next night, we had plans on going out to eat. It was our date night, but we just kind of weren't feeling it. So we decided instead to just order some pizza and watch a movie. We watched The Lost City. So we did Papa John's. Here's what we got. We did a medium pepperoni pizza, and then we got, my husband calls it a garbage pizza, but I think they call it like the works. We make a couple changes to it. So instead of sausage and onions, we add banana peppers and pineapple. And then we got their little chicken dippers or whatever they call them. And that was dinner this night. For dinner the next night, we tried a new recipe for Fiesta lime chicken. This recipe was actually sent to me by one of you sweet subscribers. Her name is Cathy. I'll have the recipe typed out in the description box below. Let me show you how I put this together. Here are the ingredients you'll need for the marinade for the chicken. We've got some water, lime juice, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, minced garlic, black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And all I'm going to do is stir all of that until it's combined really well. Place that along with the chicken breasts into a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to chill that overnight. Now we're going to make a doctored up ranch dressing to go over the chicken. You'll need sour cream, some ranch dressing. Just use your favorite. This is homemade. It's the Hidden Valley Ranch packet according to the package instructions. I've got some salsa, minced garlic, and lime juice. And just like the ingredients for the marinade, all I'm going to do is combine everything and then place that into the refrigerator and allow that to chill until I'm ready for it. All right, so to start dinner, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. I've removed the chicken from the marinade and placed it into a greased baking dish. I'm going to pop this into the oven once it's preheated and bake this for about 20 to 25 minutes or until the chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Once the chicken's done, I'm going to remove this from the oven. I'm going to add some ranch dressing to each of the chicken breasts and top it with some cheese. I think Cathy said to use Colby Jack cheese, but I had some cheddar cheese on hand, so that's just what I'm going to use. This is going to go back into the oven and bake for about 5 to 7 minutes until the cheese is melted. And here's what it looks like when it's done. Now, to go along with this, I made some zucchini. You could, of course, do rice and beans. That would be really yummy with this, but I had some zucchini I needed to use up. I just cut them into sticks, tossed them with some olive oil, and then the Auntie No-No's Everything seasoning, as well as the Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse seasoning. I cooked them in the air fryer at, I think it was 400 degrees for about 7 or 8 minutes, just until it was done to my liking. All right, here is the finished plate. I served some lime wedges on the side for the chicken. We really like this. Now, for my personal preference, I would have liked to add like maybe some taco seasoning to the marinade just to give it a little bit of a kick. So I think next time I make that, I'll give this a try. But this was yummy and it was easy to put together. So Cathy, thank you so much for sharing this recipe with me. We really appreciate it. Now, if any of you have any recipes that you'd like for me to give a try, shoot me an email, send it to me on Facebook or Instagram, get it to me however way you'd like, and we will certainly give it a try. And in addition to the chicken and zucchini, I had a bag of salad that needed to be used up, so I decided to do a quick side salad. And we had some of the extra ranch dressing from the chicken, so I just used that for the salad dressing, and it was good. And then for the chicken, I added just a little bit of fresh cilantro just as a little garnish. For dinner the next night, I tried a recipe that I've been meaning to make for a while now. I saw this first on Taylor Elmore's channel. I'll, of course, have it linked down in the description box below. This is a garlic Parmesan pasta. So I've mentioned before on my channel that I make like a creamy Italian chicken. Some people call it like the Olive Garden creamy chicken, but it's basically just cream of chicken soup, chicken, cream cheese, and Italian dressing, whether you use bottled or like the dry mix. And then you cook that and serve it over, most people do pasta, some people do mashed potatoes. We love it over rice. It is definitely a family favorite. But I've seen this version that instead of the Italian dressing, you use like the bottled garlic Parmesan dressing. And like I said, I've been meaning to try it, and I figured now is the time, and so that's what we decided to make for dinner. Now this is so easy, it's basically a dump and go. All we're gonna do is add our chicken breasts to the bottom of the crock pot, and I'm sure you could use chicken thighs with this as well if that's what you've got or that's what you prefer. Next, I'm going to add a bottle of the garlic Parmesan wing sauce. This is the Buffalo Wild Wings. I think Great Value or Walmart and Aldi have a version as well. So once I've added that, I'm going to take a little bit of milk or water. I have a little bit of whipping cream on hand, so I'm going to use that up and then do a little water. Shake up the bottle to get the rest of it out. We're going to add in just a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. And then the cream cheese. Now, I had just a couple ounces of a block, so I'm going to add that and then make up the difference with this whipped cream cheese. I'm going to give it just a little stir and then place a lid on this and cook this on low for about 4 to 6 hours. Once the chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature and is tender, we're going to shred it up. You could remove the chicken breasts aside and shred them if you'd prefer. I'm just going to use this little food chopper. Now, I was having a little bit of trouble just because I was trying to do it one-handed, but the food chopper works really well in this. Once I've shredded the chicken, I'm just going to place a lid back on this, and then I'll mix in the pasta. For the pasta, I'm going to cook up some rotini according to the package instructions. I did a half a box. You could do a full box, but we like our pasta a little on the saucy side. To go along with it, I'm going to cook this steamable broccoli in the microwave and then season it with the Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse seasoning. Here is the chicken mixture all finished. Now, if you feel like you want to loosen this up a little bit, you can add some water or milk. I set aside some of the starchy cooking water, so once I've added the pasta, I can add that in if I feel like it needs it. I'm going to add in the cooked drained pasta, give that a stir, and then I allowed this just to sit for about 5 minutes or so, while the broccoli cooked. All right, here is the finished plate. I have the pasta, the broccoli, and then I just added a little bit of parsley flakes on the pasta as a little garnish. Now, we've really enjoyed this. I toyed with the idea of having the recipe because it's just the two of us, but I went ahead and did the full recipe, and we had leftovers for lunch for a couple days, and we enjoyed this. Now, I will say, though, I don't know if maybe this is just the Buffalo Wild Wings version of this sauce, but it was right on the borderline of being a little salty for us. It wasn't, but if I would have added any salt at all, it would have been too salty. So no matter what brand you add, I would suggest not adding any additional salt at all. You know, once it's done, you can give it a taste, and if you feel like it needs it at that point, you can add it. But it's harder to take it out once once it's already over seasoned. So just kind of a word of caution there. I wouldn't add any extra, but this was really yummy, and we will definitely make this again. For dinner the next night, I made Caesar salads. I follow Salt and Lavender on Instagram. She has a food blog, and she shared this creamy Caesar dressing, and it just looked really good and easy, so I wanted to give it a try. To start out, though, I have about a half a bottle of this Ken's Caesar light dressing. I really like this for marinating chicken. I feel like it adds a good flavor, but I want to use this bottle up, so I'm just going to add some of the dressing and chicken to a Ziploc bag and place this into the refrigerator to marinate. Now, you don't have to do this at all. I just had this dressing that I wanted to use up. You could just season the chicken and cook it however you'd like. Now I'm going to make the Caesar dressing, and I'll of course have her recipe linked in the description box below. In this bowl, I'm going to basically just add everything and stir it until it's combined really well. So we're going to add the mayonnaise, sour cream, grated Parmesan cheese, lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, Dijon mustard, minced garlic, and then we're going to season it to taste with some salt and pepper. Now, a quick note here, and she actually mentions this in her recipe. Traditional Caesar dressing uses anchovies, and you can totally do that, by the way, but Worcestershire sauce usually has anchovies in it, and so for some Caesar dressings, you'll see the Worcestershire sauce instead of anchovies. Just use whatever you like or what you've got on hand. Now, you can use that dressing right away. I'm going to pop it into the refrigerator to chill while I'm finishing the rest of dinner. So for the Caesar dressing, the Salt and Lavender linked a recipe to her homemade croutons. I had these sub rolls on hand, and I knew I wasn't going to use all of them for the recipe I had them for. So I decided to go ahead and whip up the homemade croutons. I had the bread on hand and the oven on anyway. So all I did was cut the bread into cubes. Use whatever bread you prefer. And then I'm going to add some olive oil. This olive oil is already infused with herbs. But in addition to that, I'm going to add some salt and pepper and garlic powder. Now, you could use whatever seasonings you like. I'm going to spread those out, and then these are going to bake in the oven. The oven is set at 375 degrees, and these bake for about 15 minutes. I did go in about halfway through and just kind of give the pan a little shake. Now for the chicken, I had every intention of grilling it, but it was storming like a banshee at dinner time, and I was like, nope, not dealing with that. So I decided to just cook it in the oven. I placed some aluminum foil on a cookie sheet just for easy cleanup. I removed the chicken breast from the marinade, placed it onto the cookie sheet. I decided to add a little bit of Cavender's as well as a little salt and pepper, and then I'm just going to bake this in the preheated oven. Like I said, it was set at 375. I baked it for about 20 to 25 minutes. Just make sure your chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Now, once the chicken was done, I did allow it to set for about 10 minutes before I sliced it up, and see all those like really dark, almost black bits. That's why I lined the cookie sheet with the aluminum foil. See, easy cleanup, smart cookie. All right, so here are those finished croutons. And then for the salad, all I did was take some romaine dressing. I tossed it with the romaine dressing. Oh my gosh, romaine lettuce. I tossed it with the Caesar dressing, added some Parmesan cheese, as well as the croutons, and then added the sliced chicken on top. This was delicious. This was so good. For dinner the next night, I made Philly cheesesteaks. I had this box of Philly cheesesteak meat that I got at Walmart. This was in my freezer. I needed to use it up. Here's what else I'm going to use. So I've got some just sub rolls, butter, some sliced provolone cheese. You could do Cheese Whiz or cheddar cheese, whatever kind of cheese you like. Pepper jack would also be good in this. I've got some sliced onions and mushrooms. A lot of people add bell peppers to their Philly cheesesteaks. You totally can. I'm not a big bell pepper fan, and then I didn't have any on hand anyway, so I just skipped it. And then to go along with this, I'm going to cook up some tater tots in the air fryer and season it with a little seasoned salt. Now, to season the meat and vegetables, I decided to add the Kinder's Steakhouse seasoning as well as the buttery steakhouse seasoning. I decided to make these on my little black stone. You can totally make these indoors. I just cooked up the Philly cheesesteak meat and seasoned it with the seasonings I showed you. I cooked up the vegetables until they were tender and then combined the vegetables and the meat. Once I did that, I turned the heat all the way down as low as it would go. I added the sub rolls and then sectioned out the meat and vegetables and then added some sliced cheese. I cooked that just until the cheese was melted and the bread was toasted, and then I assembled the sandwiches. Now for the tater tots, I didn't feel like heating up the oven just for the tots, so I cooked them in the air fryer at 400 degrees for about 8 minutes, gave the basket a shake, and then cooked it for another maybe 6 to 8 minutes, depending on how crispy you like your tater tots. Here are the plates. So we've got the sandwiches, the tots, some ketchup for dipping the tater tots in. And then after we kind of started eating, I was like, man, we have some Chipotle aioli. I just got it at Aldi. I was like, we have that in the fridge. I think that would be good on this. And we added it. So good. This was dinner this night. It was easy, quick, and really delicious. For dinner the next night, I tried something that I saw on Kat's channel. I'll have it linked down in the description box below at Southern Farming Kitchen. I'm calling it orange pepper chicken. She did this with pork chops, I believe, but I had chicken breasts on hand. So what I'm going to do is add some Italian dressing to the bottom of a dish. I'm going to add in some chicken breasts that I'm going to season with this Badia orange pepper seasoning. Now, Kat suggested this seasoning. I'd never tried it before. I got mine on Amazon. I can link it down in the description box below. I'm not sure. You could probably find it in the grocery store. I'm just not sure. So I'm going to add the chicken breasts to the Italian dressing and then season the top side of the chicken breast with that seasoning and add some of the Italian dressing. I'm going to cover this and place this into the refrigerator to marinate. So once I was ready to cook the chicken, I drained off most of the marinade, and then I baked my chicken in the oven. I think I baked it at like 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. The temperature and how long you bake it, I mean, it's really just up to you as long as you cook the chicken until it's at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Here's what I'm going to make for my side dishes. So first up, I have this 4-cheese rice-a-roni. I haven't made or thought about this in forever, but I saw it recently on Sammy's channel, Managing the Maze. Again, it'll be linked down below. I'm just going to cook that up according to the package instructions, and then I have a couple cans of carrots in my pantry, so I'm going to just do my glazed carrots. I've shared this before on my channel. I just drain the carrots, place it into a saucepan, add in just a little bit of butter, some salt, pepper, a little honey, and brown sugar, and I just cook it on like medium-low, medium while the rest of dinner is cooking, and I stir it every once in a while. All right, here is the finished chicken, and then we have that cheesy rice. I did add in just a little bit of milk at the end. I felt like it was a little thick, so I just added a tiny little bit of milk, and then we have the glazed carrots. All right, here is the plate. So we have the chicken, the rice. I added a little bit of parsley flakes on the rice just for a little garnish, and then the carrots. This was so good. The chicken, that orange pepper seasoning was yummy. I'll definitely be looking for more ways that I can use that. The rice is so easy but delicious, and that would be good with like broccoli in it. So yummy. And then of course I love those carrots. All right, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some dinner inspiration. Please hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.